Hello everybody, Merry Christmas again. Really quickly, I just wanted to start the video out like this because we still have a ton of people joining our journey daily, weekly, monthly, it's crazy. So if you are new here, my name is Steph. I mainly run this channel because my fiance works pretty much every single day. He has 2 days off a week. I talk a lot about mostly my experience as a special needs mom. I record about our son Sebastian and our dog Zeus and our bird Nala, mostly Sebastian and my fiance's journey being special needs parents. Sebastian just got out of the hospital December 1st. He had heart surgery. It was a planned surgery. We knew he was going to have the surgery. There was quite a few complications. He came home and then unfortunately we discovered he had a staph infection on his incision site, so he went back. He also was just in the hospital September through October and did a 6-week antibiotic treatment at home for an infection in his heart, completely unrelated to anything. It was super random and the first time Sebastian had ever come home with IV antibiotics. And now we are back on 6-week antibiotics for a completely separate infection. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Sebastian's main health diagnosis is called Cornelia de Lange syndrome, or CDLS. It is a rare genetic freak mutation. If you literally Google his syndrome, it is a freak genetic mutation. Birth diagnosis, meaning we did not know that Sebastian had this diagnosis before he was born. We also only found out a week before he was born that he had a heart defect and would need a ton of heart surgeries in his lifetime. Not that anything about that would change anything for us and our family personally, but a lot of people are curious, did we know about this before he was born? No. Is his syndrome something that came from us as his parents? Meaning, does dad have a gene and I have a certain gene and when they cross it causes this? No. Again, it is literally a freak genetic mutation. It just happened. Also, another common question we get all of the time, should we choose to have more children, will they be as sick or have the same diagnosis as Sebastian? I prayed to the Lord not. It shouldn't. Who knows? God's in control. But medically speaking, should our future children have Sebastian syndrome? Probably not, because again, it is a freak genetic mutation. Anyway, we have been in and out of the hospital since September. On top of that, we just moved, so if you hear me echoing, that's why, because our house is not put together. But we are home from the hospital, and I'm going to go over the details of all of that with you. Again, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, thank you. I love you. I believe we're home because of all the prayers you guys have given us. So thank you. I love you. Let's get into it. Sebastian is still doing good. Christmas yesterday was good. Like I said in my video, if you watched it last night, it was just Gio and Sebastian and I. For like a couple of things, Sebastian was released Friday night. That was hectic. We did not get home until 11:30. By the time he was in bed, it was technically like Christmas Eve. So it was really, really late when he got home. There was no real time to plan for anybody to come over. In addition to that, the weather in Illinois has been crazy. It's very, very, very cold. I think the day that we released, there was like a wind chill of like 20, 25 or something. It was very cold. With that being said, most of the family who would have been coming to visit live 2 to 6 hours away at that point, so we decided to not get together. However, I think we will be getting together next Sunday, like New Year's Eve weekend, that Sunday. I guess technically that would be like New Year's Day. Just small group of people. I'm not even sure who's coming. I sent out a text to some family members just coming over for lunch to celebrate, and obviously going to keep the group small to keep as many germs as possible away from Sebastian. But also, it's important to find that balance of not letting germs control your life, but still being cautious, if that makes sense. So with inviting people over to the house, obviously we just ask, like, if you're sick, even if you have a sniffle, please don't come. And it's just family. It's probably going to be like 10 people or less. Lots of hand washing, lots of precautions, but we are planning to get together next weekend. Sebastian got a car for Christmas. I'll post a picture. We haven't taken any videos of him yet because we actually have to modify the seat for him. That's why in that photo there's like blankets underneath him. We got a 5-point harness to install on the seat to actually like sit him up and have him protected in the seat. But it was so cute. We did take him for a ride in it, obviously, but I didn't take a video. But he loves it. And Gio is a car guy. It was just really, really funny to get Sebastian a car because Gio and I used to go to car shows all the time. We still do, and that's like a thing that we bonded over. So it's funny that we just decided to get him that gift for Christmas, and I think he really, really likes it. And now we have a house big enough for him to be able to utilize that gift during the winter months. Other than that, Gio and I kept it pretty simple. We got each other a couple of gifts, but the biggest gift, obviously, is having Sebastian home. So we just hung out this weekend. We did some work on the house. I got a couple of the rooms together. The house is much more clean and put together now, which, as you know, makes me happy. And we relaxed and we hung out. I think we'll have more festivities next weekend, like games and stuff when family are here. But we had a great Christmas at home. Having Sebastian home is such a gift. With that being said, let's talk about Friday. He originally was supposed to have his PICC line placed on Friday, but they were able to place it on Thursday. That in itself was like crazy. He was supposed to get it done by like noon, and he ended up not having it placed until 6:30 or 7. And he didn't come out of recovery and back into his room until close to 11 o'clock at night. That's just how the hospital works. Things came up, a patient needed something else, and it took longer before Sebastian, so they couldn't get him in until that time. In my previous video, I don't know if anybody watched that. Most of you did, I'm sure. He was originally going to get the PICC line, the IV, placed in the inside of one of his arms. Unfortunately, it seems like Sebastian, the poor kid, has too much scar tissue, and they could not successfully place one in the inside of his arms. And his femoral veins in his legs and his groin, those were not an option because they were both utilized for heart surgery. So they had to put one in his neck. This is where it's at right here. I don't want to turn him too much, but it's in his neck. And then the IV ports are just kind of dangling. They're on the side of his arm right here. Say hello, Bubba. Hello. That was definitely a little bit unexpected. Not that it's a problem, because I'm sure they use that method. I'm sure they use that method here and there when they need to. I definitely didn't expect to bring Sebastian home with an IV in his neck for the next 6 weeks, but that is just where we are, and that's what he needed. When the OR nurse called me and asked for consent to do that, I just said, as long as it's effective for Sebastian's treatment, then do what you need to do to get him home, basically. So it's in his neck. He's doing okay. He's on 3 different antibiotics a day, plus Lasix, plus clonidine, which is the medication we're still using to wean him off the original stronger medication from heart surgery. It's a lot. So anyway, circling back, my brain is kind of crazy, but back to Friday, when he finally was getting ready to come home, he had the PICC line placed on Thursday, shooting for discharge on Friday. We thought was going to be Friday morning. I think we got to the hospital around 9 o'clock, and we were expecting to go home around noon. 1 o'clock, 2, maybe 3 at the latest. And as the day went on, we realized that he may not even come home on Friday, which is fine. Again, we weren't in a rush to get him home. I think the hospital was trying to be really kind and like give us a Christmas gift and have Sebastian have the ability to go home. But it seemed like one thing after another was really trying to stop us from getting home. The weather was a big thing. The roads were crazy. It was very cold. But also the pharmacy was taking a really long time to get Sebastian's meds delivered. And then the outpatient home health care had to drop off Sebastian's IV medications. And they gave us an estimated time at 5 p.m. And the meds did not arrive until almost 10 o'clock. Which is fine because they still arrived. Definitely everything was delayed. So again, Friday morning we woke up and we're like, dang, we're gonna have him home by noon. We have the day to like just be home and relax. That didn't happen. And then after waiting almost 10 hours for the medication to arrive at my house, we had someone here, a family member, to take a picture to send to us so the team could make sure that he had the correct medications at home. We thought that almost one of the medications were wrong. So it was like we waited all that time, and then finally the meds got delivered, and it was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. And we were like, oh my gosh, let's just leave him here. Like, the universe is obviously telling us that he needs to not come home, so we'll just leave him. But anyway, it ended up that the meds were fine, everything was good, and they still let us take him home. Like I said, I think we left the hospital at like 10:30 and got home at 11:30. I want to clarify this because I feel like this may come up because this whole discharge kind of seemed rushed. So I just want to say that if Sebastian was not in a position to come home, he wouldn't have come home. If the hospital wasn't confident in my ability to care for him, he wouldn't have come home. And that is a really big compliment to me, because not only was it Christmas weekend, it was Friday night at 10 o'clock that they let us go home in the middle of Snowmageddon in Illinois. It was negative 25 degrees and they still were like, okay, you have the meds, you got this, take them home. So that was a really big compliment to me, and I'm really, really grateful to them for that. But I do want to just make sure that everybody knows the hospital set all of this into motion. I didn't put any pressure on anybody to have him home by Christmas. That was never like the focus. It was never, I wasn't pushing for that. I think the hospital wanted us to be able to have him home. And like I just said, if he wasn't in the position to come home, he would not have come home. So he's here and he's safe and he's good. And that's where we're at. Somehow, magically, with all of the prayers and all of your love, we're home. Circling back to medication. He's on 3 different antibiotics, like I said, and then some other medications along with his like usual medications, which are folic acid, iron, his Keppra for his seizures. It's a lot. I think he's on like 10 different things throughout the entire day, but I have my little booklet again that I have been keeping track of everything. It's how I stay sane. So I'll let you take a look at that and see actually like what has to be done during a day. So this here is when we got like readmitted, and then when we came home. These are this one, and the gentamicin are his antibiotics. The gentamicin and the cefazolin, those go through the IV, and this goes through his G-tube. But I have literally every single day. He has 2 lumens, like 2 IV ports. So I'm just labeling which one I'm using, making sure that I'm flushing both every day. And this is just kind of where we're at for now. But it's quite a bit, mister. Yes, it is. Yes. I have to get ready now, actually, to give him his 4 o'clock medication, which is all 3 of them. So one of the bulbs, if you are new here, I will show you and explain them to you. But if you have been here for a while, it's the same type of medication he had back in September. Comes in like a little, looks like a little light bulb, and it just pushes, it's a self like pumping machine. So all I have to do is sanitize him and get him safe and hook up the line, and the medication pushes itself through. So one of them takes 30 minutes to go through. The other one takes an hour to go through, and then his other medication goes through his tube. So that's quick. Those are 3 times a day. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and 12 o'clock at night, which the 12 o'clock at night one is really rough on us because it wakes Sebastian up every single time, and then it takes him like an hour or 2 to go back to bed. But it's fine because we're going to do whatever he needs. These medications he will be on for the next 6 weeks, but it's fine. Whatever he needs, it's fine. So I'm going to get ready to do that medication really quick. As far as the oxygen, it's kind of the same thing as last time. He typically doesn't need oxygen at home. He hasn't been on oxygen in over 4 years, but he has been fighting infections on and off since September, and right now it just seems like he needs oxygen. So he's going to be on it until he tells us he's ready to come off. I haven't even tried to take him off of it. I just want to give his body a break and have the machines just kind of give him that extra little puff of air to support him. So I'm going to go grab his meds really quick, and then we'll see where we're at from there. Now Alyssa, solo. I have to run upstairs to grab my tripod so I can record safely. But I wanted to show you guys on Christmas Eve, because we were home, I was able to get our spare bedroom halfway together. It's not like fully together. We still have some decor and like a table and a light, but that feels a little more like home. As well as I'm drying this sheet, but I was able to get this front room together. The house has a lot of work, but it's coming together. And having just this bed made and set up in this room makes me feel so good. It sounds so silly, but I really love having one room put together. Sebastian these days is kind of on high alert because I feel like the poor kid has a lot of PTSD. Like anytime anyone wants to touch him, he's got a little bit of PTSD, so he doesn't really particularly like this. Let me grab these ports. So this is kind of what it's looking like under here. His chest sternum is still covered. It still has an infection, obviously, and these are just stickies that we need to get off, but I have been trying to just give him a break. And then this is Sebastian's port right here. Goes in through here, and then it goes down into his heart. So I'm gonna go ahead and administer some medication through one of these IVs really quick. You're okay, Papa. I'm gonna try to focus more on his arm here just because he doesn't like this and I don't want to show him super crabby on the internet. Sorry, buddy. All right, we're gonna go with the red one. I know. You're doing such a good job, though. You smell kind of stinky. You got something going on? That's one of the biggest side effects of the medication is the IV diarrheas that he gets. My goodness. So this is just some saline. I'm gonna flush. Whoops, sorry, Baba. I'm gonna unlock his line right here. There's a little clamp on it. See that? Kind of opens it up. Make sure it pushes good, which it does. Very good. And this is his IV here. I'll show you that in a second. Open up this line. And then we're gonna open up this line. This is now the medication going through here. It's gonna take, I don't know if you can see that, where are my hands? It takes 30 minutes to go through. And then once this one is done, I'm gonna take this cap off. I'm gonna clean it with alcohol again, flush it, and then I'm gonna attach his second antibiotic. This one goes through an hour. When I'm done with that, I will clean it, flush it, and push some heparin through to avoid any blood clots in the line. That's what life is gonna look like for the next 6 weeks. His third antibiotic goes through his G-tube. It is a crazy color. He definitely has a dirty diaper. That's bad. But anyway, this one is also 3 times a day. So we just put that through his G-tube. Usually takes about 2 flushes because that antibiotic is very, very thick. Good boy. That's it, we're done. That's it for right now. I'm gonna let these meds do their thing. I'm gonna make him some dinner. He usually goes to bed around like 7:30 these days, and it's about 4:15 now. So I think I'm gonna cut it there. Gio gets off at 5, he'll be home at 5:30. I'm gonna cook and clean and do all of that stuff. I just wanted to check in, give you a little glimpse of what we're kind of dealing with and what we're working with. If you have any questions, anything at all, please post them down below so I can answer them. And I think for now, I wanted to check in and give you the medical side from my standpoint. There will be more Sebastian content tomorrow. All right. Sebastian's a little cranky, so I'm going to snuggle him. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. I love you. If you have questions, please comment them down below. All right. See ya. Did you know that you're the toughest kid in the whole entire world? Yeah, you. I'm talking about you, beautiful. You a little mad? It's okay. It's a lot of stuff. He didn't nap very well today too, so that's probably what's happening. Can you wave bye-bye? Can you say bye-bye? A little bit? You want me to carry you? I'll come get you. I'll come get you right now, beautiful. All right, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. I love yous. Yeah, bye. There's a little bye-bye. Bye-bye.